You ready? Good evening. All right, I'd like to call this meeting of August 26th to order. It is 6:33. Lisa, roll call. Present.
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 All right. Mrs. Knorr, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have any amendments or motions?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and we're at the call of the public. I don't have any blue cards, so we'll skip over that. And go to the superintendent's report. Dr. Chestnut.
Thank you, President Trey. Governing Board, a few things to report on tonight. It's with deep sadness that I have to acknowledge the tragic death of Maricopa High School athlete Nate Ford. As you know, Nate was a homeschool student, but he was very well known as a football and baseball player for Maricopa High School. The administration of Maricopa High School, along with support from the City of Maricopa's crisis team and the MUSD crisis team, coordinated counseling services for students and staff affected by this tragedy last Friday, Saturday, and Monday. The Maricopa High School football team will be honoring Nate at the first football game this Friday prior to the start of the game at 7 p.m. On behalf of MUSD, I would like to extend our deepest condolences to Nate's family, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. So moving on, next up, Sierra Reynolds and I have been in contact through the advisor, but I'm still working on that, so we hope to have a report from Sierra soon. A few things to report on. August 18th was an eventful day at Santa Cruz because the Maricopa Elementary School mascot made a visit out there. It was a real diamondback, and that is a Maricopa Fire Department firefighter, and fortunately they provide this service of taking care of snakes. So it was during school hours, and we have new principal out there, Dr. Lorraine Conley, and she told me afterwards she did not realize that snake removal was in her job description. And her previous school in downtown Phoenix did not have this problem, but anyway, it was good team effort by the fire department. We appreciated their help and support, and no kids were in danger, and sometimes that happens. But it's been a few years. On the 25th, we had this great picture taken. $500 for each school was donated from Jersey Mike's. It was part of their grand opening, and all 9 principals received a check for $500. And very, very nice of them to do that, and we appreciated that support. Tomorrow on the 28th, there's a City of Maricopa meeting with Senator Jeff Flake, and Krista Roden and I will be attending on behalf of MUSD, so we're excited about that, and it's an honor to be invited to a meeting with the United States Senator, and looking forward to that. So I've never heard him speak in person, and it is Friday. Did I have the wrong date? Is that the wrong date? 20th is Friday. Yeah, I think that's the right date. Yeah. Oh, tomorrow? Yeah, no, I lose track of days and time. Yeah, tomorrow, the next day, somewhere in there. Hopefully, Senator Flake has the right day on his calendar. That's also a big day because it is Maricopa High School versus Agua Fria at 7 p.m. at Rams Stadium, so it's going to be pretty exciting. And I believe I saw a preseason poll that had the Rams ranked 11th in the state. So that's pretty cool. And hopefully we can end the season somewhere in that area. But I know a lot of work has gone into this season, and we have an excellent coaching staff. Chris McDonald is a very excellent head coach, and we're looking forward to this season. Also, a new addition in lettering there at the entry to Rams Stadium. Maricopa Athletics, home of the Rams, tried to give that little branding. Mark Cisterna, it was his idea. He thought we needed more of a obvious place to walk through because it's kind of a big building. And we kind of have that same problem out front, so we plan to get similar lettering over pretty much the identical doorway, which is the main entry to the office. Hopefully just direct people there, and it looks cool and reminds everybody who we are. So that was a nice addition. I want to remind you once again that the first Override Recommendation Committee meeting will be on September 3rd, and I've got about 10, 11 people lined up, so they will attend. Remember, they're making a recommendation to me concerning options for the override, and I will then be bringing that recommendation information to the governing board. We'll be talking about this, and should be an interesting discussion. Should probably take about a month. So I'm guessing first meeting in October, we should have a recommendation for the board to begin looking at, and it may take a while to sort it out, but we will get started. 9/9 is our regular governing board meeting in September for the governing board, but we decided to cancel that meeting and have one meeting in September. If the need arose for a special meeting, we would do that, but it looks at this time that we won't need a second meeting. I just want to remind you that that regular meeting on September 9th is canceled. Also, you know about this, but just to remind you once again, the date's getting closer. On 9/11, it will be School Board Appreciation Night at Chase Field, and we're very proud of our governing board being Board of the Year for the state of Arizona out of 331 school districts. Very nice honor, and I'm sorry, I think it's 231, but you know, it's a big number, whatever it is. It keeps changing. So there's only going to be 10 governing board members recognized. There were 5 individual awards, and then there will be the 5 members from MUSD governing board being recognized on the field before the game. And so that's a nice honor, and we're looking forward to that evening. Finally, I want to make it real clear, 100% of MUSD route buses have air conditioning. And this has been in the news lately. Sarah wrote an article, a very fair article, and I think it wasn't clear in the article that we have 100% of our route buses do have air conditioning. We have a few that are in backup positions that we use, you know, mostly in the cooler months. If we're desperate and have breakdowns, then on occasion, yes, we have to run a bus without air. That has happened one time this year. We had a breakdown. We did have to provide that one bus for part of the day that did not have air conditioning, but we did provide water in that case. And that's our policy. When we have a bus without air, we're forced to use it, we do bring water. There was one other occasion where a bus broke down, and Auction Police Department assisted and actually brought water in the middle of the route, which was very nice of them. Appreciated that support. But this is an issue that is not going to go away because we live in Arizona. And so Fred Laguna and Tom Beckett have been beginning to research options for supercharging or improving, I'm not sure what the word is, but upgrading our air conditioning units in buses. And there are options to do that, and we're gathering information and be bringing options to the board, something that the board may want to consider in the future because we know it's going to be hot. It's starting to cool down a little bit, and it's going to get hot again, though, next spring and summer. So it's going to be an ongoing issue, and we will have to look at that as time goes on. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Our next is governing board member reports. And before I turn this over, I just, you know, with everything that's gone on the last couple of weeks, I put a Facebook post that I wanted to share. And I thank God every day for the blessings that I have received, none more precious to me than my children. I have witnessed amazing strength in so many this past week. The compassion that our community has shown to the families and how our community stands together reinforces how much I love living in Maricopa. I pray for peace and healing for all of us as we grieve the terrible losses that we've experienced this past week. And for those that are here and those that may be watching, I would encourage you to drive safe and please buckle up. Any other reports?
Go last if somebody else, because I have wanted to report on the Chicago conference if somebody else wanted to go first, and I can go last. Isn't that the whole board meeting?
Anyone else?
Go ahead. I had the opportunity to attend the Pima View curriculum night last night, and I just wanted to say that the teachers and the staff at Pima View are doing an amazing job, and they've got a great year planned for the K-6 students there, and I'm sure that is the same in all the rest of our schools, but it was a great opportunity to see how hard our teachers are working to, increase the learning potential for our kids. So that's all I have.
I would just like to express, first, that was thanks for sharing that, President Cotre. That was very nice, and I know that our communities had a lot of tragedy, and I just think that the football team, it's good that they've had the counseling, and I know that I hear good things, for the team being together for each other. And I really look forward to a good football season and seeing the community, around that. So my senior year, I had a similar experience where we had a member on our team that had the same thing. So it's something that nobody should have to experience, and in our community, as much as we've been losing here recently. And the best thing we can do is pray and connect with people and share our love.
Okay. So I'm still tired. I got back Sunday night from Chicago, and it was the National School Board Association conference. And so we had a lot of meetings with Pacific Regional, which is Alaska, Arizona, Hawaii, California, Idaho, Washington, and so it was talking about what issues we all have as a school. But I will say that I did not send the information to Dr. Chestnut as far as to pick which sessions to go to, because ASBA already had me pre-assigned to everything. So, and it was great, and I want to say that a couple of things I learned. I did not realize that the Office of Civil Rights has a lot to do with our educational funding and some of the mandates that come down. So that was an interesting point. And I did get our federal lawyer, lobbyist, who we can actually email directly to give him proof that we are not fully funded for IDEA or any of our other federal mandates. And then if we send him the actual figures and how it impacts our school district, he can take that information back to the Hill and help lobby on our behalf for public education. So I did take that opportunity to meet with him and kind of get some clarification on federal funding. So that I thought was helpful. And then a couple of other things. Dr. David Berliner, who wrote the book 50 Myths and Lies That Threaten America's Public Schools, he spoke, and then he gave a couple of sessions. Amazing. I mean, I've heard him speak before. We are going to try to get him to come down to our conference, our annual conference, so we'll see, but that was an amazing issue. And if you ever want to have somebody just tell you the way it is, you should definitely read that book. It's got some amazing myths, and then it defends and gives the actual information, the true information. So that was very eye-opening, and it was extremely helpful. So if board members don't have that, I would recommend that you get it. I do have an extra copy, so you can fight over it. And lastly, I'll write up more of what we talked about in Chicago and give that. I gave a stack of stuff to Dr. Chestnut. But I do want to close with reading the ASBA members' letter that came out, the media release that came out on the 301 prop lawsuit. So do you mind if I read it so that the public can hear it? Okay, it's pretty short. So this was sent out Monday as a press release. It's pretty important for our district and our teachers. So, and if you would like more information, there is a link and a website that you can go and figure that and look at it more. But in the, we've been in litigation for a while, and it says Proposition 301, which is the Cave Creek versus DeWitt lawsuit. After 6 months of active mediation, we have determined it is no longer productive to continue along that path. With regret, we return to active litigation to try to bring your school districts the resolution they deserve. Recently, our governor proposed a pathway to settlement that included a trust land proposal. We have not endorsed this proposal as the details have not yet been developed. We will evaluate the terms when they are created. You may note the mention of state trust lands in the attached media release, which is consensus document from the litigation partners. Providing more dollars to our member districts is a top priority, but the current proposal does not satisfy the pending litigation. ASBA staff will be able to provide updates in the process of litigation in the weeks ahead. Please know that we will continue to actively pursue a fair resolution. Thank you for your support. Be assured, if it is good for students, we will be at the table participating in discussions representing all members of K-12 public schools. I have been part of those discussions and have been under a gag order, so I can't discuss what the details are. However, I wanted to read you the letter that it is going back to litigation. They would not agree to the terms, and we feel that we are not going to settle for anything less than what our students and our teachers deserve. So we are going to continue to fight. It's ongoing, and I just wanted to make sure everybody's updated on that. Okay, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Our information items work study. I'm not sure who's going first. Dr. Jen, Mrs. Ebner, and Trevor Jenkins.
You felt at the end of last year, but this pretty much sums up how I felt. I was exhausted and looking for direction. I was mentally drained as I met with teachers, discussing their formal and summative evaluations. Okay. We looked at SLOs and targeted growth. It was frustrating having these conversations with teachers who brought it every day. We tired from analyzing data and trying to discern what it actually meant. Did our full annual year students make their targeted growth? Did this data truly measure teachers' effort and their impact on students and learning? I was anxious as open positions at our school increased, wondering how we would find the right people to join our MES family. We found them. In June, I attended the Arizona National Board Network convening and worked alongside other colleagues who had also lost their way. We networked, shared our concerns, and realized we faced the same challenges. We reignited each other. I tuned in and began to take note of Arizona teacher leaders who blog. I listened, I engaged in conversations, and I reached out to other like-minded teacher leaders. I started thinking about the current state of Arizona, realizing if we don't stand up and take back our profession, who will? We need to have teachers tell our stories. Not politicians, not legislators, not Diane Douglas, not Doug Ducey. So my call to action for teachers is take back our profession. Stand up and share your story, share our story. Commit to reflecting on your practice through the lens of the National Board Standards. It was created by teachers for teachers. It represents our profession's mark of excellence. This process is about teaching and students learning. Who are your students? What do you know about them? How do they learn? What do you do to help them find success? How do you make learning accessible to them? Don't your kids deserve the best teacher? Don't our kids deserve the best teachers? Join me, Maricopa teachers. National board certification creates opportunities. A few weeks ago, myself, Heidi Vradel, Jen Miller, Aiden Balt, and Treva Jenkins met with other teachers from around the United States and the Department of Education sharing our story, creating solutions, working alongside Secretary Duncan. Teaching is how I contribute to our country, provide for my family, and make my life count. It is who I am. You're all here for a reason this year. What is it? This past summer, Ron Thorpe, the president of National Board, passed away. 2 years ago, I sat in a room of teacher leaders when Ron Thorpe set forth the challenge. He said, we need more NBCTs in leadership roles and leading schools. That day changed my professional career. That day, I accepted his challenge. Vulnerability is not knowing victory or defeat. It's understanding the necessity of both. The difference between good and great is being willing to learn from our students. The National Board certification process provides a structure for just that. If not you, then do it for your students. Follow your colleagues. Currently, we have 5 National Board certified teachers in Maricopa, 9 teachers courageous enough to begin the process, many other teachers, elementary, middle school, and high school who are ready to begin, and several administrators exploring how they can embark on the journey alongside their teachers. Currently, we have 19 teachers signed up to take a pre-candidacy course and begin the process. Who has the courage to make this year the year to push your practice, be vulnerable, and learn alongside your students? Thank you.
That was Dr. Jenna Robinson, principal at Maricopa Elementary School, and next up is Angie Ebner, teacher at Maricopa Elementary School.
Hold on, wait, okay. Finding your leadership voice is unique to each of us. There is no easy path to follow when advocating for your students and your profession. This is a glimpse into how National Board changed my life. Prior to the National Board process, I would never have taken on leadership roles on my campus. I assumed that everyone else knew better and that I should follow along. This all changed when Dr. Jen came to my campus and invited me to pursue National Board. Jen promised that this journey would be extremely challenging and rewarding. But because she asked me to challenge my practice and reflect like I had never done before, light bulb moments began to happen for me. I had control over what was happening in my classroom, and I could affect change for my students and peers. On my journey to become National Board, there you go, okay. You can skip ahead a few, it's okay. On my journey to become a National Board certified teacher, I found that not only should expert teachers question, investigate, and research, but they should expect the same from their peers. Perfect. This is what I had been doing from the comfort of my own classroom. This is when I started to see myself in the National Board standards and as a leader. I was making sure the instruction in my classroom fit my students at that time and that it had direct impact on their achievement. With this evidence and newfound confidence, I started sharing my ideas and rationales with others. Not all of my peers were ready to support me, but I did have many like-minded educators in this district who wanted to collaborate and share. They had been waiting for me to come knock on their door. National Board has changed my life and the lives of all who have taken the chance to experience it. I am now stepping into leadership roles and speaking at district and statewide events, all because of the opportunities that have come from National Board. There are amazing individuals who will help us along this journey. Jen asked me to dig deeper, not to get stuck, and allow myself to see that I had the potential not to be just a good teacher, but an accomplished educator. Deb Coles is one of the most reflective educators I have ever met. I know I can count on her to help me step back and analyze events from different perspectives. As a National Board certified teacher, she will call on you to put the student first and set aside any other distractions. Tracy Carey was also on this journey with Deb and I, and she is an NBCT that has the capacity to inspire and encourage anyone and everyone. These are a few of my like-minded people. In your head, I know you're now thinking, who are my people? Then it happens. You achieve. It's one of the top 5 most amazing days in my life thus far. I am an NBCT who is becoming a leader, who is staying mindful of my students and my practice, and seeking out opportunities to share my knowledge with educators from around the state. I decided to take on the Arizona Master Teacher process next. It was another amazing opportunity, and I was well prepared for this task because of National Board. This again opened up even more opportunities for me to advance my profession, our profession. Once you decide to go on this journey, people might start to question you. Have your pitch ready to go, such as, I decided to challenge my practice against the highest standards because I believe that all students deserve to have the very best teachers. And I want the public to see what a group of passionate educators committed to excellence can do for our students in this community. Let's lead from the middle, right here in this building. Don't wait for a policymaker to define how well you do what you do. You are an expert. You define how well you do what you do. Your human capital is limitless when you articulate your practice and its importance clearly to all. Daniela Robles is an amazing educator who questioned herself for one moment. Then she got up and she did something about it. National Board was the thing, coupled with her sheer awesomeness, that changed her life and the life of countless educators and students alike because she was willing to step out into the unknown. As a teacher leader, you have to find a way to use your magical powers to empower, educate, and encourage others. National Board is an opportunity to become part of a large network of accomplished teachers who are shaping this profession. We know the most important part of our jobs is having a daily impact on students. The National Board standards encompass skills that are effective in all teaching environments. Schools with many NBCTs have strong professional communities. They're focused on leadership, learning, and collaboration. The culture of the school benefits from the common language of National Board standards and is characterized by higher rates of teacher morale, teacher retention, and increased community involvement. You are here at MUSD because you are committed to these students and providing excellent education for them. NBCTs demonstrate a commitment to excellence and professionalizing our profession. You are this person. You are ready. We are knocking on your door, and we are anxious to announce your name as a National Board certified teacher who is among the best of the best in this profession. Will today be the day you choose to advance our profession?
Next up is Treva Jenkins. Treva is a mentor teacher under the Mentor Teacher Grant, and she also teaches one class of English at Maricopa Wells Middle School.
Good evening, everyone. My fellow board members, it is time to take a no-nonsense approach as to how we transform education. I'm here this evening to share my journey of world domination. Proceed until we are all apprehended. For those that know me, you may be wondering, was it my military training that sparked this fire within me? Possibly. My military training is actually when my educational journey all began. Unlike some of my students who think I just came out of my mother's womb with a pen and paper in hand. While serving as an Army officer, I was given the opportunity to work with and teach young soldiers. Right then and there, I knew I wanted to experience all aspects of teaching. I have to say, it was an amazing journey, a glorious transition. I truly felt inspired by my students. It was magical. You know that feeling, right? When all the stars are aligned and everything is right in the world. And then came the knock. And some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for me, it was not just one knock. It was several foot-stomping, breaking down the door knock. Treva, they said, come share your love and passion for teaching. Come be a mentor teacher. What? You want me to leave my students, my babies, as I like to call them? You can do this, they said. Think of the impact you can have on even more babies and teachers. And then, just like Dr. Evil, I began to imagine all the possibilities, working with dynamic teachers, helping to affect real change, even getting a chance to work with the Arizona K-12 Center. However, As you know, in order to take over the world, you must have a fearless squad. Meet my partners in crime, Jen and Aiden. We are Arizona master teachers. These girls know exactly what it's like to take on the powers that be on behalf of all teachers and students. But of course, if we're talking about world domination, we must have a fearless leader. Meet my fearless leader, Heidi. What's so amazing is we didn't realize the effect the mentor program would have on other veteran teachers at our different sites, teachers like Shelby Rostis and Courtney Kelleners. These veteran teachers actually supported our new teachers. They are our unsung heroes, and we are truly grateful for them. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that my circle of influence as a teacher leader would actually cross over to other schools and grade levels within MUSD. At MES, I was able to collaborate with an outstanding group of 6th grade teachers, students, and their phenomenal principal, Dr. Jen Robinson, whoop whoop. But it didn't stop there. I was able to bring in 7th and 8th grade students from my own site to help transition these 6th grade students into young leaders. It was incredible, and it was a win-win for both schools. The 6th grade students at MES even wrote letters to our 7th and 8th graders. One 6th grade student wrote a letter to this young man, Jalen, who took part in this leadership collaboration. Jalen has had his own ups and downs in school, but I know this experience will have a lasting impact on him. Now, many of you have already heard her name, Deb Codes. She is one extraordinary educator, elementary teacher at MES. She actually continued to mentor these 2 young brothers who came to the middle school last year. Her story alone is a how-to guide on how teachers can stay connected with their students after they leave the classroom. Because of her, these 2 brothers were successful at the middle school. So now the question becomes, how can we teachers duplicate world domination at their sites, other teachers? Well, there are 2 amazing authors and books, Andy Hargraves and Dennis Shirley, the original Dr. Evil. Their books, The Global Fourth Way and Professional Capital, are blueprints for total education reform. On my campus, Maricopa Wells, we have embraced an initiative called Helping Kids Succeed Arizona Style. But first and foremost, it starts with teachers finding their voice and finding that dream team of like-minded teachers at their sites. Now, the road to world domination is not an easy one. There will be bumps along the way. As educators, we have all experienced obstacles and struggles in our journey. When we first applied for the mentoring grant, we were denied, but we tried again the following year and we got it. Many teachers are contemplating stepping out of their comfort zone and being more active at their site. To these teachers, I say, please, don't be afraid to take that first step. In the end, through your own pursuits for change, you will see and be inspired by the fruits of your labor. As Robert Frost would say, I took the road less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Our profession needs teacher leaders. Like the novel, we are divergent. We represent a paradigm shift away from the traditional teacher career path. We can focus on instruction and influence policy from expertise gained through our own classroom practice. And finally, I would like to leave you with these words from Nelson Mandela, quote, education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Together, let's all travel the road not taken on behalf of our students and our profession. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, ladies. That was an amazing start that you had. You gave these same presentations at our back to school, and it was the perfect way to start the year, and I'm so glad that you guys came to share that with us. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Every month?
Yes, schedule it up.
It's good for kids. Is it going to make us an A district?
And that's what we're looking for. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have any motions, amendments?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Can I just say one thing? Dr. Miller, sorry. You'll need to speak into your mic because otherwise they can't hear it out on TV land.
Item 7A, discussion and possible approval of the personnel schedule. Mr. Beckett.
Thank you, President Petrillo, members of the board, Dr. Chestnut. You have in front of you our personnel schedule for this evening, as well as the cover sheet that I think outlines some of the budgetary impact of this particular schedule. I would like to address two of the items before we move forward, both number 48 and number 50. They do have names. They're going to be attached to those. Unfortunately, we got those late today, and as a result, they do not make the timeline for amendments to the schedule for the board. So just wanted to let you know that those two have been assigned at this point in time. And I'll take your questions.
So, Mr. Beckett, that leaves then two that are still to be determined, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And those are in the credit recovery classes?
Correct.
That we, as I still don't have an answer from Principal Renita Myers if those two positions are needed or not. I think there is a decent chance that they are needed, but it's been a busy week and we haven't got it nailed down, despite many efforts. But I can assure you that if the board approves this list, if those or one or two of those positions are not needed, we will not fill it this semester and we'll reevaluate again for second semester.
I have a question. I don't know if it's Mr. Beckett or Dr. Chestnut. Number 65.
Yes.
Didn't we already pay a coaching stipend? And why is the need to do that again? And
Mrs. Anderson, I'll go ahead and start the response, but Dr. Chestnut may have more information on this. Mr. McDonald, excuse me, we're not supposed to be mentioning names. 65. That person on number 65 actually has a full teaching load at this point in time, but he also is doing the coaching as well, separate duties. This is actually covering his prep time, his 6th hour. This is a special class that is offered to any athlete that is potentially going to be entering into the NCAA. There are specific criteria that need to be accomplished their entire 4 years of high school. And again, this class helps to prepare them for that. I believe Mr. Cisterna had used this particular model when he was at Gilbert, had great success with it. But again, that's my understanding. Dr. Chestnut, you may want to expound.
Year-long position, assuming we like it, for second semester. We reevaluate all overloads for second semester. So it's a kind of a trial run for us, and Renita Myers, high school principal, knows we're kind of doing this on a trial run to see if it works out. But the assignment will be to work with both male and female athletes, and it would be for any students interested in pursuing athletics at Division I, II, or III universities. There's a process called NCAA Clearinghouse that you really have to get through, and really it just means you have to have a really good 4-year plan, and you really have to start thinking about it as a freshman. So a lot of this responsibility for the stipend would be to publicize this information to students and parents, and then work with counselors and students to make sure that they're following through. We have had some athletes in prior years that had the talent to play at a Division I school but hadn't met the clearinghouse requirements. So this is becoming a fairly common position around the state, and it's something we wanted to try out this year.
Okay, now that prompts the next question. I mean, that's great that we're doing this for athletes. What do we offer our non-athlete students for tutoring, studying?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that.
It's that blank stare, Mr. Beckett. No, I mean, it's great that we're doing this for our students. I think it's wonderful. It's going to help us, but I just want to make sure that we are also offering the same opportunities to our non-athlete students.
Well, yes. As far as the career planning, I think we have a good system in place. I'm a big fan of our, we used to call it freshman seminar. It's now called College and Career Ready. CCT class so that we get students ready on a 4-year plan and that they begin the process of their ECAP, their culminating project. So counselors obviously do have a role to play in that, and they do, and work with students. So that guidance part is there. And then as far as academic help, extra tutoring, I think one great thing about Maricopa High School teachers that I've observed over the last 3 years is that they're quite dedicated in helping students that need help. And they're there, not all of them, but a large number of them before school and or after school to help kids. Some of them eat lunch in their rooms with kids and do academic stuff. And I do think kids can get that assistance. We also have a formal AZ Merit coaching, tutoring option for students that need assistance with that. We have a stipend, or I should say a grant from the state of Arizona, so we can provide a stipend to teachers to do that on an hourly basis, so that's available. So there are some options for students.
Okay.
Do we have the 21st century there?
We don't have 21st century at Maricopa High School, but we have that at Desert Wind Middle School, and then we have it at 3 elementary schools. And so there is good additional academic assistance available at those sites as well.
Okay, thank you. That was my only question. Well, only 6 questions.
Any other questions, discussions, or motions?
Motion to approve the personnel schedule.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckett. Item B, discussion and possible approval of first reading of GCO evaluation of professional staff members. Dr. Chestnut?
We updated this policy a year ago to make it in line with changes in Arizona law. When we adopted that policy a year ago, it said in there that we would, for this school year, put in some information about what to do with teachers who were in the lowest classification or the bottom 2 low classifications for 1 year or 2 years. And so that is the only paragraph that we've added on this amended policy.
Any questions or discussions?
Discussion. I just want to say I like the way the last paragraph was worded. I think it's clear and gives more definition to what teachers' expectations are. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's important, just while we're talking about this policy, to recognize that we have made a major change in evaluation of teachers in our state and in our district. And we, for the last couple of years, have been including student achievement data. It's required under the law, and I think probably normal non-educators have figured we've done that all along, but it has not been a formal part of our evaluation process. And that's been a big cultural change for us. It has made both administration and teachers pay closer attention to student achievement, helping each student reach his or her potential in the classroom. And I think it's been a good change for us. We're still working out the bugs, but it's been a good process for us.
Striking the paragraph that says that the preliminary notice of inadequacy, will we still receive that information as a board if somebody is in the bottom 2 criteria for 2 years in a row?
Yes. Mr. Beckett, can you explain that? You know that process better than I do.
Thank you. Without policy, though, yes, once an evaluation has taken place and it's determined that that teacher is deficient in their classroom performance, the principals then will notify them of that inadequacy. They then notify HR. I go ahead and then take the initiative and contact with Dr. Chestnut and the board, notifying them that they have been placed on a preliminary notice of inadequacy. They have a prescribed number of days in which to complete that plan successfully. If they do not, that is potential for non-renewal of the subsequent year's contract. So the long answer is yes, you will receive notice.
And I don't know, I know that part of the policy, the new policy says that the superintendent provides a plan, and I think that's great and important. It's not our job to provide that plan, obviously. But I just, maybe when you do issue those plans or make those determinations, to let us know. My only fear is that in order to be an A school, we need really good teachers, and I think with our presentation today, we're definitely well on our way. But if a teacher receives maybe not a partially effective but ineffective 2 years in a row, or even 3, that's a concern. And I know we have a teacher shortage, and so the likelihood might be to like hold on a little longer, but you know, these kids only have a certain amount of time that they're with us, and we want to give them the best education opportunity possible. So I would just, you know, maybe once you make those determinations or whatever, just let us know, because I know we get the list of ineffective and partially effective and how many there are, but if someone's receiving that consistently, especially the ineffective label, I think that there needs to be some a significant action and non-renewal.
I think the point's well made. We could use more communication on that topic, and I'd be happy to work on that.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion? Motion to approve. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. And item C, discussion and possible approval of the first reading of updated policy JK for the student discipline. We had this on the agenda last meeting, but we didn't take any action. We had asked to go back and revise it. So it's been revised. So is there any questions, discussions, or motions for this?
Discussion, I just want to read in red what was added. I think it fits what I was asking for. Under restraint and seclusion, it says the restraint or seclusion technique shall be used only by school personnel who are trained in the safe and effective use of restraint and seclusion techniques. I'm satisfied with that. So that was my only, I just thank you for addressing my concerns.
So then with that being added, I would imagine at the schools, I mean, is there a list of, like, these are the lists of the teachers that are certified, and so you guys develop the policies around that? I'd
Yes,
imagine
principals are well aware of who's certified, and it's well known in the buildings, yes.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
Approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, adjourned. Do I have a motion? Motion. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second adjournment.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting's adjourned, 7:21. Thank you.